Welcome to Pixel Therapy, where we take the subject of gaming and psychology and show how well these two work together. Now, in the past two episodes, we have been discussing toxicity in online gaming. And as always, I want to encourage you, if you have not done so, watch one of the previous episodes, or actually watch both of the previous episodes before watching this one. The first episode, we talked about a definition for toxicity, as well as how this has affected others. And in the last episode, we talked about some reasons why people may be toxic, but also reminding us that toxicity is not always purposeful. In this episode, let's talk about what we can do to prevent this. This is what I do in case I receive a negative text. I try to respond with kindness, which isn't always easy. And sometimes this works to diffuse the situation, sometimes it does not. But there's a reason why I try to react with kindness. And so to better understand my reasoning, I'm going to share with you two anecdotal stories, both of which involve Dead by Daylight. Now, the first deals with me playing as Cannibal. And so if you've ever played by Dead by Daylight, you know this story is not going to end well. Well, one of the Cannibal's base perks is barbecue and chili, and it's one of the meta perks that a lot of killers like to use. For those that are unfamiliar, this perk shows me the aura of all survivors for a few seconds after I have hooked someone. The only two times I will not see their auras is if someone is within a certain proximity of me or they are hiding in a locker. And so, I down a character, I hook them, I look around and notice that no aura has appeared. So two things come to my mind. Either everyone is in a locker, which is highly unlikely, or the other players were very close to me, and so I did the logical thing. Now, some are going to say, you were camping. No, I was patrolling the hook. I wasn't just face camping, but I knew the other survivors were nearby, and I'm, as the killer, am trying to kill. Long story short, I got a 4K. After the game was over, a player messaged me and said something rude to me, and said the only reason a garbage character like me could win was through camping and sucking at the game. And so I'm wondering if expectation and possibly humiliation came into play on this one. The reality is I received information from a perk I was using, and in all honesty his teammates gave up shortly afterwards. So how did I respond to such a statement? Well, I said next time we play together, I'll bring s'mores to our camping trip. And I never received another response. Now, this may seem like a great gotcha moment. But what good did I do for the two of us? None. He likely left angrier, and quite possibly took out that anger on some other player. Now, the second deals with the time I was playing as a survivor. I played against a Billy who ended up with 0K at the end of the game. I sent him a GGWP, and in response, he was very upset and essentially called me a liar. Now, my response to that was, I would rather build up than tear down in a message. And seeing that, he thanked me, and we chatted for a few moments, and I took that time to build him up. You see, there was expectation, he was frustrated. But I took the time to build him up, and we went our ways. I prefer this method of communication because, one, it encourages people. That includes my teammates, it includes my opponents. But it also forces me to maintain a positive mindset when playing this game. Now, what if kindness does not work? Well, there's a wonderful feature in most games called a mute button, or even a closed chat button. What this does is that keeps you from hearing or seeing negativity. If you must see the chat, think of a go-to response to try and dispel any toxicity. I know some people will type in, laughter, they'll just say LOL, and that's it. It kind of throws the person off because you're not responding the way that you want them to. Also, you need to realize that you cannot control the responses or actions of others. You are in control of one thing, and that is how you are acting. Just because someone reacts poorly doesn't mean you return that in kind. Well, what about instances where the person is making threats, being racist, or something of that nature? There's usually a block button in games which keeps certain players from playing against you. And there's also a report button. Now, some may argue that does nothing. This is false. Sometimes it just takes time to get things done, and yes, some companies are really bad about actually taking care of this. An idea in my head is there was a video that Hens333 did on Dead by Daylight, which he showed video footage of a cheater in action, and Dead by Daylight never banned the person. But in some instances, it just takes time to get things done because sometimes people report for nothing. Some companies even ask that you show footage of the events in action, which is easy enough if you know how to use OBS, or the Xbox and PlayStation have features where you can record gameplay. How do we stop ourselves from becoming toxic? And I think that's a good thing to bear in mind. And I'm going to cover a few reasons. One is, remember, the game will not always go your way. Some games you're going to do wonderfully, some games you're going to be the MVP, and some games are going to be horrible. You cannot control the actions of your teammates, you cannot control the actions of your opponents. You are only in control of what you do. So what if you get really frustrated and you want to lash out? If you need to, step away from the game for a period. Go outside. Do something else. But in all things, remember, this is just a game. Okay? This is something that we should be able to play to relax, to have a good time. We may live, we may die, we may come in first, we may come in last. But it's just a video game. We shouldn't be taking things that seriously. But those are some things we need to keep in mind if we start to become toxic. And I understand in these 3 videos, we did not cover every aspect of toxicity, the reasons behind it, things of that nature, but I wanted this to stand out as kind of a foundational look at the subject. Later on, we could look at these aspects more depth in videos, but let's do our part in the gaming community to make this a place where all are able to play. Yes, some people are going to get on our nerves. Yes, some people may say, do, or live in a way that maybe I don't like. That's no excuse to mistreat someone. And with that, I appreciate your kind attention. God bless you all. Love one another. And let's game in good health.